Welcome to my blog .stampwithelaine.com and welcome to the second of my 12-part Countdown to Christmas series, which has been scheduled to finish within the first week of December. It is made with this set of Framelits dies. It's called Hearths Home. You can buy it as a bundle, and it coordinates with this stamp set called Happy Scenes. Now this comes with a lid, and I've created a little somewhere to put your tea light so that it won't wobble around, and that just closes on all three sides. You have a lantern. The cardstock we need is 12 by 9.5 inch piece of Whisper White cardstock, and in centimetres that's 30.5 by 24.2. We will also need some Tip Top Taupe cardstock, the thick Whisper White cardstock, the reason for a season stamp set, Memento black ink, Old Olive and Real Red ink pads, and your Daffodil Delight Stamp and Write marker. You will also need an aqua pen and some clear blocks with which to mount your stamps. This is the D block. You need some medium-sized cello bags. These measure 4 by 6 or 10.2 by 15.2 centimetres, and that's for the window pane. Dotted lace ribbon, your Simply scoreboard, and the trimmer, a ruler and a pencil. We'll also need your big shot, of course, and a magnetic platform. But let's start with the Simply scoreboard and your piece of Whisper White cardstock. So butting it up with the long side on top, you score at 3 inches, 6 inches and 9 inches. So that will be 7.6 centimetres, 15.25 centimetres and 22.9 centimetres. Then you want to mark the centre of each of these panels, so that would be 1.5 inches, 3.5 inches, 4.5 inches, 7.5 inches and 10.5 inches. So in centimetres that would be 3.8, 11.6, 19.2 and 26.8 centimetres. Now rotate your cardstock 90 degrees to the right and score at 1/2 inch, 3.5 inches, 7.25 inches, and in centimetres that would be 1.4 centimetres, 9 centimetres and 18.5 centimetres. Then you need to turn your cardstock anti-clockwise 90 degrees so that the 1/2 inch score line is at the bottom. Let's move that up. And I always mark my Simply scoreboard with right down the middle with a white chalk marker at the 6 inch mark, and from that 6 inch mark I count 4 grooves, 1, 2, 3, 4, and I score another line up to the 6 inch score line, and then on the 9 inch score line here I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and I score up to the 6 inch score line again. So this section here is basically the flap, the bottom of your box here. So now we need to do a bit of cutting. So with the narrow score line at the bottom, we need to make a cut up to the 6 inch score line, which is here, and on this side of the flap okay, and then the first score line, and from this direction up to the one to the second, these two have to go. Okay, and then you want to cut these little squares off. And turn it around, and you only want to cut, this is your roof line where you marked the middle of each panel. Now we need to bring our scoreboard back in. Let's fold these flaps. I've zoomed in a bit closer, hopefully you see it. These are the marks I made on the middle, okay? So let's put our stylus there. That's the middle, and so let's just do one side first, it's just easier that way. So put my stylus there, right in the middle, rotate it so that the centre score is mark is there, and just score down. Make sure that that's flush with that point there, score up, and then here's the last one, there's the middle, make sure it's in line, score up. Okay, now I work better this way, so here we go again. There's the score, and we need to score up to there. So that's the score line for your roof. Roughly fold it. Okay. So I'm just going to eyeball it, but obviously you need a flap. So in order to do that, I'm just going to cut it parallel to this score line I've made, and do the same for all the other ones. So I'll just do one side first, and then I'll go back and do the other side. Just makes it easy so that you don't keep turning your paper around. So that's basically your roof line. Now I need to corner round these slightly, so I'm just going to do it with my scissors rather than a corner rounder. And the reason why is because it's difficult to get a corner rounder in these little corners here. It's just impossible. So next we're going to have to cut the apertures, and to do that just eyeball it, and what you want is your pencil, and we're going to trace so now I need to draw a line on just beyond that as well. So that's what it should look like, and now I'm ready to cut. Bring our trimmer in, and then the lines you've drawn, you can see there, it's so easy to measure up, to trim now, because all you have to do is just make sure those lines are flush with lined up with the groove, and then from that point you cut up to there. You do the same all the way along. That means you don't have to measure as such, so you don't have to measure, say, from 1 centimetre to 6.5 or whatever it is. I just follow the grid line. Let's pop these out. Okay, so that's all done. We need to cut our frame for the window. My magnetic platform in, my base cutting plate, cardstock, window frame, and I need to cut 4 of those. So top cutting plate, and then I'll go and run it through the big shot off camera. Now I've cut my 4 frames. These are the medium size one, and I want to cut them in half. So these measure 6 inches. So I'll cut them at 3 inches. I only want the fronts of the bags because the back has a join or a seam, and I don't want those to show. So I'm just wanting the front and leaving the backs. Then you need to take your your cello bags and trim them down to 2.5 inches by 2 7/8 inches. Use the fine tip glue pen with a very, very thin line of adhesive. And pop that on and leave it to dry.